Hello, I'm back. I'm going to do part two of my favorite albums list. I had planned on doing 100. I just wanted to split it into two because sitting here reciting 100 names, reciting 50 names is boring enough. But I'm going to do part two now of my other 50. Also, I forgot to mention yesterday, I'm trying to not mention the same artist twice. I know I did that in the case of Brian Eno, but it's Brian Eno. There's always an exception to every rule. But if I were to do a top 100 list, it would be maybe there'd be 20 different bands spread out across the whole list. It's going to be like half of Aphex Twins output, half of Autechre's output. It would be kind of a boring list. I'd just be going over the same bands over and over. I'm trying to make 100 inclusions and 100 different names. For the most part, there are a couple of repeats. Those of you paying attention will know what those are. Anyway, I'm going to go through the next 50, and this is all I'm doing. I'm doing 100 lists or 100 albums on the list, and that's it, splitting it into two. And thank you for watching the first video. I've gotten some comments already. I'll go through a few of those because I did want you guys to let me know if you wanted me to talk about any of the albums I mentioned at length, even though I've done most of them. One of you said, I want to be careful about pronouncing people's names because when I say people's personal names, YouTube will block the comment just for privacy reasons. So this person's YouTube name is Ordningsmannen, I think that's what it says. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This would be really fun. He just made this comment about an hour ago. I'd really want to see a list of the 50 most annoying bands and artists, ranting style. Perhaps 5 or 10 will be enough for one video. I would love to do that. I will do that. Thank you for that. I've thought about doing that in the past and I kind of forgot about it, and now you're reminding me I should do that. That'll be fun. Hopefully you guys will think it's funny. And I hope you think most of my videos are funny. I try to show my sense of humor in pretty much every video I do. So anyway, I think that would be fun and funny for people. Oh God, yeah. When I saw your comment too, I'm reminded of a number of bands and artists that I fucking hate. I might pinpoint it to, I'll pinpoint it to a band. I was thinking about doing it per album, like focusing on an album. But let's face it, most terrible albums are made by terrible bands. So I'm going to focus on like maybe 10 bands to start with. And if you guys like it, I'll move to 10 more. But I've already got 10 I could easily go off on. Another comment, Ilpana, how's it going? Ilpana is an old school watcher of mine. I'm British, so I hope this post doesn't come across egotistical or imperialistic, but 66% of your list contains British artists. Not bad, considering Brits amount to 0.86 of the total world population. Yeah, I know it's true. I didn't think about it as I was growing up in the 90s and so on, but I know most artists I love are British. I don't try to do that. It just ends up being that way. I think this list I'm going to do today is probably skewing more toward the American side of things or just not British side of things, but you're right, it is. I've had people comment on this before. It's, I don't know. I can't explain that. I will say that I tend to enjoy, you Brits get a hold of what we Americans do. Like, usually the Americans will start something, or the Germans will start something, but then the Brits get a hold of it and then they twist it in some weird, odd, bizarre way that's more interesting. Like, techno is a great example of this. Like early techno is great, but then the Brits got a hold of it and they did something entirely amazing with it. So you Brits tend to take the idea, the kernel of an idea of some other country, and then you make it better. So I don't know. It is what it is. I don't try to do that, but you're right. I've heard this many times. Like, I would say 75% of my record collection, all the thousands of records I have, it's mostly British. Yeah, I don't try to do that. It just is what it is. Let's see, Slowdive52, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Ateker. Your video on Incubulula is one of my favorites, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on Amber and Trirepate. So I will do that. Thank you for mentioning that. I love Ateker. If I talked about Ateker, I don't know. I don't feel like I try to gauge what my audience wants to see, and I don't know that there are a lot of Ateker fans out there. I mean, I could be totally wrong about that, but I will definitely talk about Ateker. We have another one. I don't want to say her name because it looks like her real name, and if I say your name, YouTube's going to block it. Anyway, thank you for your comment. She said, I love talking about and hearing people talk about music. So I personally show up when music is in the offing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know I get off the beaten path. I get very easily distracted. I know I talk about whatever I want to talk about, and that's not always music. So my upcoming videos will be very music centric, I promise. Here's Johnny Yeshno. I know that's not your real name, so I don't mind saying that. Johnny, how you doing, man? I think it's easy to say that most music lovers have 500 albums that are top 50 records. Impressed that you could make a coherent list because I couldn't throw down my vote for Tago Mago. I have a couple of requests for Can, and I've had those in the past. I will do Can. Here's one, Thing Doer 2. How are you? Hey, I'm curious as to what you think about the Decemberists. If you have heard of them or have listened to them, what do you think? I know you live in the Portland area, which is where they're from. All due respect, no. I've tried the Decemberists. I had an ex-girlfriend who loved the Decemberists. I've heard plenty of the Decemberists. Not a fan. It's just my opinion. Thank you for asking the question. No love for the Decemberists on this end. If I never hear the Decemberists again, it will be too soon. Let me put it that way. But thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. Spectrum Tube, would be good to hear your thought on Another Green World, as you only briefly touched upon it in the Eno collection. 3 Feet High and Rising would be much appreciated too. It says appropriated, but I think much appreciated is what he meant to say, or she meant to say. Okay, yeah. I know, I could do Brian Eno all day, man. It's Eno, for God's sakes. And I love to talk about De La Soul. I've held off on talking about hip-hop because I just don't know if anyone would give a shit. And there are plenty of things I haven't talked about because I just don't know that my audience would care. But now that you're asking me to do De La Soul, I absolutely will. Thank you. Razmix, how you doing, man? Razmix is my neighbor. Looking forward to the Tagomago video. Another Can request. Here's one from blah, 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 6365. Love to hear your thoughts on global communication. 7614. I love global communication. They are another group. I just don't know how my audience would take it. But I intensely love global communication. And Mark Pritchard in particular. Love him. So I will do that. Here's one. I think Gothic Adam. How you doing, man? I think I recognize your name. Yes, the video we've all been waiting for a while. Thank you, and I'd like to add a second vote for a full public image limited video. The Pistols get a lot of hype for basically one album. Yeah, but come on. Talk about, I mean, is there a band in history that came and made one album and then went away and that had more of an impact? I hear what you're saying. I will say, yeah, PIL did much. I don't know if it was more interesting, but it was just different. And I love John Lydon. Who doesn't love Johnny? I mean, he's lost his mind a little bit. He's getting really bizarre and senile in his old years, but isn't that what we all do when we get old? We get weird, right? I don't know. I absolutely will do the PIL video. And again, I can't believe I haven't done it. Video on the Conversation would be cool. Another comment here. Yeah, Cabaret Voltaire, Richard Kirk, I'm going to do it. Liz, how you doing, girl? You hanging in there? Because the world fucking blows. It blows hard. Yeah, the world blows serious, diseased dick right now, I know. Hang in there, girl. Thank you for your comment. Ola, I would love it if you would review Metal Box from PIL. More PIL love. And yes, I watched the entire video before posting this comment. Yeah, people love commenting before watching things. I'm trying to, steer people in the right psychological direction and have some modicum of attention span. Because, boy, it's bad. Anyway, thank you for your comments. I'm going to get to list number 2, the next 50, and I'm going to plow through these because I've been going for over 10 minutes, and that's not cool. These are the next 50. So I'll say yes if I've talked about them. I'll say no if I haven't. Nick Cave, Push the Sky Away. Or Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, whichever you prefer. But Push the Sky Away. How good is that album? All Seeing Eye, Pickled Eggs and Sherbet, or Sherbert, however you want to say it, even though there's no R in there. Beck, Mellow Gold. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Gonzalez, The Entertainist. Or Chili G, or Chili Gonzalez, or Jason Beck. Fucking brilliant genius he is. Chili Gonzalez, The Entertainist. Pink Floyd, Metal. Corner Shop, When I Was Born for the 7th Time. The Smiths, The Queen is Dead. I have to throw something in there from the Smiths, right? Tromprinz, Mother Cave. Elbow, The Takeoff and Landing of Everything. Doves, Lost Souls. Eels, Blinking Lights and Other Revelations. Floating Points, Alania. Gas, Koningsforst, and I know I'm not saying that correctly. I don't give a shit. I'm not German, so get over it. Burger Inc., Las Vegas. I know I'm putting 2 Wolfgang albums there back to back, but listen, these are 2 of my favorite albums. And I know Burger Inc. Las Vegas is a compilation, kind of, but I don't care. It's one of my favorite albums. KLF, Chill Out. Ricardo Villalobos, Alcachofa. You know what? I forgot to say if I mentioned these. All Seeing Eye, no. Beck, Mellow Gold, no. Black Sabbath, Paranoid, no. Gonzalez, no. Pink Floyd, no. Corner Shop, no. The Smiths, no. Tromprinz, no. Elbow, yes. Doves, no. Eels, no. Floating Points, no. Gas and Burger Inc., no. I haven't talked about any of these yet. KLF, Chill Out, yes. Villalobos, yes. Slowdive, their self-titled album from 2017. I think that's their best album. Better than anything they did in the 90s. I know a lot of you will disagree with that, but whatever. And I have not done a video on that, although I have done a video on the album that came after that. Liars, Wish You, no. Photek, Modus Operandi, no. Luke Vibert, We Hear You, no. Gene Clark, No Other, no. Pink, oh wait, I put that on there twice. Pink Floyd, Metal. How did I do that? All right, this is only going to be 49, sorry. Obviously, I really wanted Metal to be on there. MC 900 Foot Jesus, One Step Ahead of the Spider. No, but I'm going to. They just pressed it on vinyl for the first time. And it's coming, I think, next month? May? Some point in the next few months. So I will be doing the video on that. Plaid, Double Figure. No. Primal Scream, Vanishing Point. Yes. Howie B, Music for Babies. Yes. Richard Kirk, Virtual State. No. And I know I'm kind of cheating there because I already did Cabaret Voltaire, but he did this one under the name Richard Kirk. So I'm putting that on there because I love it. Sabers of Paradise, Haunted Dance Hall. Yes. Spooky, Found Sound. No. You should know that album. If you like electronic music, you should. Talk Talk, Laughing Stock. No. Saint Etienne, So Tough. Yes. Carl Craig, Land Cruising. No. Pixies, Doolittle. I know, that's a big album, but it's one of my favorites. And no. Susie and the Banshees, Peep Show. Yes. Underworld, Second Toughest in the Infants. That's a tough one. I don't know which one to choose between the first couple of albums, but I'm going to choose the second one. Second Toughest in the Infants. Yes, I've done that. Violent Femmes 3. Yes. Avalanches, Since I Left You. I think I've done that one, yes. Yellow, Zebra. That was a tough one. I haven't done Zebra. I think I did Pocket Universe. I haven't done Zebra. Fad Gadget, Fireside Favorites. No. Beta Band, Heroes to Zeros. No. Teenage Fan Club, Grand Prix. Yes. Catherine Wheel, Chrome. No. Julian Cope, Peggy Suicide. Yeah. I know they're all British. Get over it. Yeah, I've done Peggy Suicide. Voices from the Lake, self-titled album. No. Neil Young, Harvest Moon. Yes, I have done that one. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass. Nope. I actually like that better than any Beatles album. Call me crazy, but it's the truth. Nilsson Schmilsson. No. And I will if you want. Love that album. It's one of my, it's one of those albums that just owned my childhood. I've heard that album so many times. I absolutely love it. I don't think songwriting gets much better than Harry Nilsson. Granddaddy, Software Slump. Yes, I think I did that. Right? Did I do that one? I did a Granddaddy video. I can't, maybe it was Someday. I don't remember. Anyway, Software Slump. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. And then Grizzly Bear, Shields. Kind of a random one. But, man, what a fucking great album that is. Came out on Warp, I want to say 13 years ago in 2012. Grizzly Bear, Shields. What happened to them, by the way? Are they still a band? I'm not really a fan of their other albums at all, really. But Shields? Holy shit. What a great album. All right, I'm moving on now. I really wanted to keep this under 15 minutes. I failed, but I'm moving on. If you want me to talk about any of these, let me know. I guess that ends up being, I did 51 in the list yesterday, and I only did 49 today. So now we have an even 100. There we go. Boom. Done. Later.